allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay.
Leave while the lead is good.
We have, a limited consent agenda because the minutes from past meetings have not been made available yet because we're short-staffed. So with our limited consent agenda, what is your wish? Do we need to put anything on it? We have
I haven't
we have the approval of the
I
warrants.
have not seen it.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we.
Can you give me one quick sec to look at it?
You want to do it at the end?
Yeah, you can do it again.
Okay.
I make a motion that we move that to move the approval of warrant to the end of the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Probably tell me. The next scheduled select board meeting is for July 18th at 5:30 here at the town hall. And I wanted to go through select board comments and announcements first. The town administrator is currently on paid administrative leave, and that is all that I can say, or any of us can say. So I know you are curious, but please don't ask questions, or else we might inadvertently give an answer that we ought not. We are currently getting ready to settle with a new legal representation, and I think when we're ready to announce that, we will all be very happy. You have the update on the letter. Okay.
Which one?
We have an offer letter here to Tracy Wright from the city of Bath, and she will be starting on July 24th, 2024.
As the town clerk.
As the town clerk, yes, she will be there. I think it's appropriate for us to move on this, if we can do that right now.
I move that we make a definitive offer to Tracy Wright and offer the employment position of town clerk for the town of West Bath with an effective start date of July 24th, 2024.
I second that.
Any discussion? David?
What is her current position with the city of Bath?
No, she's from Bath,
Oh,
not with the city of Bath.
She has extensive administrative experience, although not many.
And accounting, yeah.
So,
Do you want to sign that officially? I have a spare one.
I think we should vote.
Oh, yes.
You mean extensive rather than excessive?
Extensive.
Extensive, yes.
And
Well, excessive's not bad either, though. I know how what you're working on.
Okay, any further discussion? Then, all in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes.
That's a spare one for your record, and I'll hand that to the pile of keeping.
Okay. Okay, excellent, beautiful. The Birch Point Road project, the bid is opening on the 16th. I would like to designate Julie as the opener.
Right, certainly. Well, do you want to do that, or should one of us be there, because then no one can register vehicles during that time frame?
It's gonna take all of, 5 minutes?
Yeah, it doesn't.
Okay. I mean, I can make myself available if that's up to you, but I consider pulling her from that
Yeah, I think
She's just opening them.
she's just opening the envelopes.
Okay.
She doesn't even have to read them. Okay, so we can appoint you with that.
Yep. And we'll review them on the 18th.
Yes.
And I believe the road commissioner is going to be there
Yes,
anyway.
Steve was planning to be there at the meeting on the 18th. And I will get in touch with him and remind him. Make myself a note. Let's see. So, under old business,
I actually have,
yep, what?
so I presume I should go under select board comments or
Okay.
announcements. At the, we had the town dump day, and Casella, let me see where they gave us a full, we did 9.86 tons of refuse. That was not billable to our residents, that was dropped off. It's construction demo and other items. From that, it was 55 transactions. So something well appreciated from our community, and I know we've got a second one planned later in the year, or perhaps early next year, that we can, I think, advertise a little bit more. I know people found out kind of a little bit late, and explain also what hazardous materials are, what is not acceptable from that perspective. But I think certainly something that was well appreciated by the community.
Yes.
Since the Dudzik are here, can we take new business first?
That's fine with me.
Nah.
In a nutshell, tell us what you are here to talk about.
So currently, I am doing the plowing over at Queen Farm Business Parkway. And I don't know if I'm older, wiser, or just more nervous about things these days, but I'm nervous that I'm a resident that's plowing a public way. And if that's even, I know technically I'm not supposed to plow, Sanford Crossing Road, for instance, but I'm doing it over there. And 2 years ago, we had a gentleman pull into the Kings Highway, because it's King Highway, and then you turn left at Business Parkway.
Right.
When he turned in left to Kings Highway, he lost control and hit one of the telephone poles, totaled his truck, and Bath City Fire was there, and Sunshine Power had to come out and reset the pole and so forth. So it's been in the back of my mind, because I'll be honest, I treat that road a little bit like it's my driveway. So if it's a storm and it's going to storm all night long, I'm not going out at 1 o'clock in the morning to plow that road. I'll get up in the morning early and I'll go plow the road. Sometimes there's 8 inches of snow or more on the road when I do that. And I'm just, now I'm starting to think about things differently. There's more people in there than ever before. I talked to the fire chief and his stance on something like this. He said, if it's a private driveway and it's got 8 inches of snow in it, we're not coming.
Right.
He said, this has never been a thing with a town road. He said, it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
So, if there was someone breaking into a building or a fire or, God forbid, a heart attack or something like that, somebody gets injured, now I'm really worried about the first responders and how that's going to work. So I'm not really sure how to, that's why I'm here. I started this conversation with Christine probably a month and a half ago.
Yeah.
And when I try to follow up, I'm here.
Right.
So it was recommended to me to come to see you all.
Yes.
So that's kind of why I'm here. Basically, I just want to
Yes.
float that out there. I have numerous things. A lot of people walk over there now. You see a lot of people walking on the sidewalks and so forth. They're never sanded. All winter long, they're never sanded, and sometimes they're not even plowed back.
Yeah.
I don't have the ability, I don't have a wing on my plow, I don't have the ability to be a commercial plowing guy, I mentioned the accident, I mentioned the increase of traffic. the emergency vehicles is concerning. Is it even legal? I'm not sure. I don't know what happens if someone gets hurt in there and I plowed the road that it's a town road. I don't know how that plays out for either one of us, right? I certainly don't have any contract with the town to plow,
Right.
you know, nor do I really want to get one. You know, I'm not a commercial plowing contractor, right? Central Maine Power does use the end of the road to access the high tension line, and they also use Kings Highway to do that as well. So there's some concern of access there. And then I mentioned the timing, you know, timing of when I plow and how I plow.
Right.
Mentioned that. And then the other, you know, there's another piece, I guess, that never really thought about until, you know, this has kind of come up in my mind, I guess, in the last year or so. Kings Highway portion is a right-of-way. Half of it's owned by the city of Bath, and they just drive by it too. They don't plow. So that's kind of, no one's plowing that road at all. And then, so once you cross the halfway point of the marsh, it's West Bath. And now there's a gentleman that has bought land and just off the right-of-way, and he's doing a tree service and stuff over there, firewood, I think. So that's all access for him. So I'm thinking, I've really got no business at all plowing Kings Highway, especially the Bath side, you know, and I don't even know how the city of West Bath and Bath ever planned at working that out, because it's not like you could plow halfway across and leave the snow piles there for West Bath to deal with. You know, so I don't know what the scenario was there or what the plan was, but so those are my high points, I guess.
I'm not going to, I don't mean to disparage anybody, but I suspect that at the time of the sale, there might not have been a plan. And I know that originally there was an agreement that you would do routine maintenance. But things have changed.
Sure.
And so I think that we probably will need to add that to the
Plow list.
plow list.
Although I'm curious to see,
We may want to talk to our attorneys too, where
Yeah.
West Bath and half is West Bath.
right, and
Yeah.
figure out what that allocation, how that allocation would work. But I don't believe it's your responsibility.
I'm just nervous for all of us, really, if
Well,
something happens.
It's
you know.
when it was just you,
Yes, I think that Adam and ourselves were just short-sighted on it. Honestly, we didn't do the 10, the 15, the 100-year plan, you know, because at some point, if I leave or I'm not here or something like that, you know, what's going to happen then? You know, it's something that needs to be dealt with.
I'm going to hazard a guess, Derek, that very few of us actually thought that the industrial park would be as successful as you have made it, so.
That means a lot. Thank you. Thank you.
Um,
It means a lot.
So that does change circumstances a great deal, and both you and the people who have bought lots to serve that service, it's a public road.
Yeah.
Very nice. Appreciate it.
So we will advocate for that and make sure that that's.
We'll certainly add it to our plowing queue,
Okay.
but we need to figure out your Bath, West Bath
Yeah.
delineation also.
Yeah. Sure. No, that sounds very fair. I mean, the board's always been very understanding and easy to work with, so I appreciate that part. And that's why we love West Bath, so it means a lot.
And if you know anybody that's looking for a plow job, we currently have no bids.
Is that right? Oh, really?
Oh, okay. Yes.
That's nice.
Maybe we'll do better.
One would hope.
Okay,
Well, thank you for your time.
of course, thank you. Okay.
You can stay for the rest of the meeting, but you don't have to.
Okay. Only duties. Thank you very much. Thank you for your service.
Take care.
Nice to see you.
Thank
Take care.
Okay, all right, and new contract, I'm making notes. And check with Kristen.
Yeah, only because we've got that bad West Bath issue.
Again? Yeah. Well, new leadership, we make it better. The clarification of ARPA fund usage, I didn't remember in time to look that up in the warrant. Hi. Are you Josh?
I am.
Hi. Come on in. Have a seat. We'll be with you in a bit.
What we wanted on that was to know
What's okay. So Emily and Julie had a conversation this morning that went very well, and they were able to clarify where the differences in accounting were, and have committed to work on what the problems are in the communication between the two systems. So the difference between where Julie is looking and where Emily is looking, the crux of the problem is in the things, the income that Emily is looking forward to from reimbursements from state expenses. Otherwise, there's no problem with cost overages.
And I think we need to figure out, we know the deadline is December 31st of this year. What we need to do is make sure that that everything that has been submitted is allowable, and money that hasn't been spent, we need to designate by the time frame as allowable expenses. I know we had the items in our queue for the maintenance on the building, and some of the things we just need to make sure that all of those are accurate and allowable from our portion of the ARPA funds.
Oh, we need to make sure we don't leave any money on the table.
Oh, yes, for sure. And I think with the repair we've got planned on the building, and some of the other things we had in queue, I think that will spend it.
Yes, and
But we should at least have Julie let us know. And what I'm curious is what we've received in reimbursement versus what's been paid out, both for us and for the school.
okay.
And with all these requests, we're also going to be considerate of everything we're asking Julie to do.
Right.
And some of our requests may not be able to be provided.
Right now.
Right.
She's doing a fantastic job. Sir?
Couple of things. So financially, in the town's position, we're waiting, the school's waiting for money to get reimbursed on certain, from the state probably. So the financial problem is not as serious.
Right.
It's a matter of funds catching up to us.
Right. And Emily was very sure that they were coming through. She also contacted our regular auditor and asked for that to be expedited.
From 2 years ago.
Yes.
No, I'm serious, from 2 years.
Right, and when we talked, Emily did indicate to me that a recent report had come to her from the Department of Education with a whole list of the towns and school systems that had not yet submitted an audit. Apparently it was quite large. Very, very similar to that list that was, or the situation that was in the NMA journal recently.
And what is the concerns about the ARPA funds? Is there concern about the ARPA funds?
We just want to make sure that we, the town, doesn't leave anything on the table. I don't know how much the school has utilized and has been reimbursed. We kind of want to balance.
I think the school has spent all that is.
Yeah, so we went.
In most of it, even all the buildings, basically.
But just to make, because it has to be allocated by this December. We still have, I want to say about $42,000, if I remember correctly, that we've allocated, but we had to wait till July 1 to have it happen.
And the other thing we talked about is there's something that's really important that we need, that we didn't count on, that we need to shift the funds for, and not do other things. Really be careful how we spend this money, so that we don't have to take it from the budget if we don't have to. So is there something the fire department needs that we didn't think of, or?
That's beyond the already committed funds.
Right,
Okay. Just to
But
double check ourselves and.
I think once we committed those funds in our budget, don't they have to stay that way, as we did in the budget meeting, or the annual town meeting?
If it's voted that way, but I believe some of the numbers weren't finalized.
But we dedicated funds to cover what we could cover
Up to-
that
up to
queue,
that amount.
up to that amount, so,
That was what the town meeting
so
said.
we can't alter that, is my point.
We can, because there were several different items, and it was, until the money was gone. So we
Right.
want to take number 6 and put it number 1.
Yeah, there's room for adjustment.
Right. But we can't put something new in there.
Okay. I talked with Max Johnston.
Who's he?
You remember him, he's that tall guy
Who likes ice cream?
comes and talks with us about planning. And I'm going to send him the names of our public works folks, because he wanted to work with them on the, just starting, but then we really should have an ad hoc group about setting priorities for what kinds of grants we want to work on for resiliency.
Which also, I think, encompassed connectivity, which
Yeah.
if we're pursuing, and I know our attorney was interested in Zoom access, I
Right.
believe that would perhaps allocate funds for us to turn this into remote meeting accessible for the community.
Right.
And I know the attorney was interested in doing that.
So that's where that is. Any volunteers to serve on an ad hoc committee for discussing community needs for climate resiliency?
We can certainly have that
Mr. Winter?
put on the website. We can put on the website and we post it,
Yeah.
volunteers.
But Max thought it would be helpful to start out with, particularly the road commissioner and the fire chief. People who are working in emergency situations. And then Maine Revenue Tax School, I wanted to just touch base. I don't believe that has been done.
We have this here. These are-
We have the information, but you wanted to attend.
I do want to attend it. I guess there's days and classes that we can select.
Right.
We should probably resolve that.
Yes.
Sooner than later.
My personal recommendation would be this one.
Valuation of real estate, property tax assessment.
That is very basic and it takes you right down to the essentials that I certainly learned much more than I was aware of, even after 2 years of serving on the board. So if you sign up, then we can get that. You don't have to decide now. Okay, so now we're at future agenda items. So what do we want to talk about on the 18th?
So we got the bids. The road commissioner's coming in also. We should, I presume, announce our legal.
Yeah. And potentially our assessing agent.
I do have, and we can either add it to tonight. I know we talked about the phone system. In theory, it's already in queue for what we want to do. Every phone up there has a private extension, so they can direct dial and don't have to come through the intro. So, which I think is a great, we can put on our website, every person's direct dial number.
Okay.
If you know who you want to communicate with, and if you don't, you can then go through the queue and select who you want. And I do have all those extensions for us to certainly have, but I think that's what I believe we were looking to achieve.
Yes.
So it's already in place. It'll cost nothing for us to do it,
Okay. So,
That's good.
right?
when we
There's a
have,
happy ending for that.
we have a few. When we have our personnel in place, then we should
We can, I mean,
We can do the two that we know.
we can still, you can put them all there. It's by town administrator,
okay.
town clerk, code enforcement.
Oh, okay,
So it's,
right, by position, not
so
person.
it's, right.
Okay.
And that way just, I think 4 of these, I just didn't get a chance to cut them. So we each have one.
Wait, went to the dentist instead, come on.
Right.
Um,
And it was 20 minutes late getting into my appointment.
if you,
Julie knows how to put edits on the website, so there were people already there.
Right.
We can actually just add
Yeah.
it right to the thing. So that's, if you're comfortable with that, I'll work with her on
okay,
allocating this.
you okay with that? All right, go to it. Okay, any future agenda items from the public? Yes.
Just to keep in mind, sand and salt watering
Yeah.
should be done shortly.
Yeah, I think, we can talk with Steve about that, and I think Julie has usually handled the salt,
Right,
because it comes in through the office.
just because it's coming that season before we know it. As far as watering the sand and salt goes.
Yes, okay.
Certainly some people wouldn't mind a little bit cooler temperature right now, but.
I mean,
Okay, yeah, it says, I'm remembering that we had a good deal left over.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have winter.
Smile.
Yes. Okay, if we're ready for future agenda items, we didn't get you all on the agenda, but is there public comment? Mr. Winter?
Steve Winter. The parameters for town legal representation have not been finalized yet. Is that correct?
They are essentially finalized.
Essentially.
Essentially.
Close as you can get without being complete.
The contract has not yet been signed.
Yeah,
But we have it.
But you're considering whether you do some sort of package deal or just an hourly rate, and you haven't made that determination?
We actually have.
The current proposal is that the firm would be on retainer, and if we needed specialized services for some particular kind of thing, then that would be on the specialist's hourly rate. But the retainer covers people who have a great deal of experience in a vast variety of areas, so pretty
As
much
well as
the
all the
retainer.
ordinance reviews were covered in that, which I think would have been a supplemental charge
Yeah.
with a different firm.
Okay.
And I think it's a great solution for this year.
Well, I will just offer this. When we finished talking with people, all 3 of us agreed on the choice that is going to be presented, so.
I believe I agreed with your choice too.
Well, all right, I'm glad.
I never thought this board would agree, did you?
And it was in a minute.
There was no question, so we're good. Steve? Yes.
On the search for an assessing agent, in
Yes.
particular, did the letter go out requesting, in particular, experience in coastal waterfront?
No, I don't believe it did. However, we have a candidate with us this evening, and perhaps you could speak to, you know something about the town?
Sure, yeah, and tax school is a great place to start, to learn. But just like any type of real estate, there's different methods to determine the value. So, whether it's deep water title, or there's no exact science to it, but there are different methods, whether it be front foot, acreage. So depending on the town, everybody's got a little bit different land classifications to assess.
And you have experience in that area.
Well, with oceanfront, waterfront, a lot of what we do is we're in Cutler, Steuben. So it's just a matter of finding the best approach and the best method depending on the land classification.
And starting out with the plot, and first, do you mind telling me your name?
Yes, Josh Berry.
Josh. Okay,
This,
thanks, Josh.
folks, is Josh Berry, and he has experience in assessing. He presented information that we received about 3 weeks ago, I think. And he was our only respondent, but we were all excited about his qualifications and his experience with tides. So, and he coaches Little League, so I like that.
So just to give you an idea, he said our team consists of 4 certified main assessors, 2 residential, commercial property listing and GIS mapping coordination, and a combined 25 years experience.
Okay.
So they have
Is there a firm name?
RCS Assessment Services Incorporated.
Okay, thank you.
Josh, looking at a town-wide assessment, can you calculate a coefficient of dispersion for the valuation of the town?
We do it every year.
Good. The last one we tried had never heard of it, I suspect. Certainly didn't do it.
Yeah, no, that's part of our standard procedures.
Good.
You're getting all
I guess the only question I have is, how did you do in Little League? Did you win the game?
We did not. We had a quick exit to our Little League All-Star season, so.
But you made it to the loss.
We made it, so that's at least, but it was time for me to get back to work again, so.
Is this a 6-month,
Yes, this would be a 6-month contract.
and too much involved at that point was sales?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we don't always have the public interview before we.
I don't mind it. I enjoy this.
You have, you mentioned to me that you have municipal government experience.
Yes.
You might as well tell them.
Sure, yeah, so, I started, so I'm originally from Aroostook County. I worked for Holton in high school and college. Moved down to the Bangor area close to 15 years ago now. I was doing carpentry work, went to work for the local municipality of Herman when they were doing a revaluation project. I was looking to get back into municipal work. So I started on a reval project there and have been there the last 8 years. The last 2 years I was acting as town manager. Prior to that, I was the assessor and code enforcement officer. So I started in the assessing field, did that for 4, 5, 6 years with some code enforcement. Was doing this type of work, assessor agent on the side. Was getting ready to go out on my own completely. Town manager left. They said, "Hey Josh, why don't you do this for us?" Which I did for 2 years, but now I'm ready to get back to real estate.
As far as the board goes, what are you expecting from a candidate for this position? Is the job entail for this 6 months period?
Well, first and foremost, our expectations is to take the open abatements we have and address them in the near immediate focus, to make sure that we get all that finalized well in advance of commitment, and make sure that we have that, and then come back in and help us understand what we have and what we don't have from our previous revaluation experience.
So can you estimate commitment time?
We're still gonna aim for early September. And hope for miracles.
How do you feel about that, Josh? I seem like a little
Well, that's, I'm making sure I write this down. Yeah.
I think we've got, if I remember correctly, 36 or 37 open abatements. I'm gonna say half of those were based upon waterfront changes in classification. Ballpark, somewhere around there.
And I know just in the initial discussions I had with some of the staff, you're just trying to ballpark how much work needs to be done is difficult.
We have a bunch of deeds that need to be
That's-
done, and
that's
splits, land
exactly
splits,
right,
so
yeah.
there's, I mean, there's so, we have to make it to commitment, we have to get the properties properly presented in that format.
Yeah.
So maps, and splits and all that is in your realm to do?
And combinations.
Combinations, splits and assemblages, whatever needs to be done.
Josh, what's your experience with the trio assessing package?
That's pretty much all I've used. Trio.
You're hired now.
We love you.
I'm glad to hear Trio. There's some others that are.
A problem with our assessing situation is we've been left with someone that has laid out a whole bunch of values, specified a whole bunch of base lot values, but with no justification for any of it, no relation to sales. So in particular, when one views these considerations, reconsiderations of properties, part of the problem is how do you make an evaluation of this property that's consistent with whatever ambiguous stuff has been done before. And that's a little more complicated problem than, hey, look at this property today, what do you think its real valuation is? How do you do that?
So as far as, so I'm going to guess these 35 abatements are probably all similar properties.
There are very few similar properties.
Half probably,
Well, similar in location maybe, or
Yeah, West
Oh,
Bath.
it's all-
well, it's all, I don't, you know, it's, I think not necessarily, well, no, I would say no, actually. But I think the crux of the abatement request is they were not deep water last year, it became deep water. And so and I'm not sure that when they were reviewed, it was a low tide to see really what that property is.
well, and that is a very subjective look at properties as well. Whether I consider it deep water, maybe you don't, or this is a beautiful view, maybe I don't think it is such a beautiful view. So
But these are like mud flat to deep water. I mean, there's,
yeah, I would say there's going to be an immediately obvious trend
Yep.
in those. That would be very easy to figure out. And at the end of the day, the assessment, you want it where the fair value is. And if that's not the case, then you make the adjustments.
Is this board, how is this machine going to work? Is it just going the mess we have in commitment, or is this person or firm going to be available to speak to the public about other problems in assessing going forward?
I don't think we have thoroughly discussed that. That is going
that's
to be
one of the conversations.
one of the conversations that's going to happen after we make the motion to go into executive session. But is your preference that?
Well, if you have an assessing or assessing agent under contract or whatever with the town, I would hope that at some point we'd be able for public concerns about other
Very much
issues.
so.
Our goal is to have someone available to the public on whatever that schedule happens to be, and haven't really figured that piece out yet.
And there'll be other issues that can be brought up
Yeah,
besides this.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
I'm coming down here hoping this is a long-term relationship, not just.
We are too.
We are too. I mean, ultimately, that's really our goal. I mean, we believe
Well,
the community expects to have access to someone who they can ask questions of
Well,
and feel that they've been fairly assessed.
it's not just a question of expect. It
Need.
should be. That's
Right.
what- If you're being taxed on your property, you should have someone to talk to us about it if you don't feel it's right.
Yep.
And that's
So
Money is where the rubber meets the road.
the long-termness of it is whether or not at the end of 6 months, we're all pleased with the way that we have performed together.
collectively, yep.
Yep,
So,
both sides.
so that 6 months gives us the opportunity to test each other out before we make them.
We're engaged, but we're soon to be married.
And you're looking for it as a contract.
Yes.
Yes.
It will be a contract. Okay, Steve, you have one more question?
One
And
more
then we really
question.
should go into executive session, people.
Action on equipment for remote meetings,
Ah,
which wasn't mentioned.
okay, I'm sorry, I should have done that. So what we need is, we had discussed a number of times about making this room compatible with Zoom meetings that the public would be able to attend and in person and remotely. That's going to require some equipment purchases, I would imagine. So what kind of stuff we would probably want to consult with Burgess, since they seem to be our tech people. But I don't know the extent of the expense and all that. So what we would probably need to do is develop an RFP with somebody who knows how to do these things.
And this also, I think, falls under the resiliency grant. It does.
Good move.
It does. Actually, it was for connectivity. So I believe that, and West Bath has been selected as a candidate for that engagement. So I think that we have a way to pay for this in addition to the need.
And our attorney also said that with that, the potential of them even having more availability, rather than having to drive down here. They could
And
just-
paying for the driving down. Yeah.
Right.
Amen to that.
Well, and she was even prepared to sit in on a couple of the meetings initially to see how we operate and what's going on, and from that to get a feel for the community. So I think the partnership that we're developing with them seems very balanced in our needs.
And currently, the representative from the firm who will be our main contact lives in Brunswick.
And wants to move to West Bath.
Wants to move to West Bath. So if anybody knows of anything that's for sale,
She's interested, which is great.
Jane, did you say?
No, I was just remembering we need to look for places for sale.
Yes.
Just as a suggestion, as one gets into the particulars of that topic, it doesn't need to be very expensive and complicated.
Right.
If you get someone to pay for the gold-plated thing, great. But something like two 65-inch TVs connected to a basic laptop and a speaker and a camera. Two, because one faces the board and one faces here, and put them on roll carts that you can position at just what the situation is all you need basically if you're just using Zoom software as opposed to something fancier. And the TVs are $500 a piece, a rollaway cart, 100 or 2 each, speaker, or rather just the cameras and microphones, another couple $100. You could do it for $2,000 or less. I'm sure some quote will come in tens of thousands, but just so that you have in mind that it doesn't have to be greatly expensive.
And we've had requests for better audio,
Right.
so that in itself, as it's recording in real time, will be better than what we have now, which is sufficient,
Yeah,
but also
quite
provide an audio for us to be heard as well as you to be heard at the same time. So I think it's a good solution that we're pursuing.
Dave?
Different subject. How is Judson doing on the lawn care?
I think it looks good.
This place looks good.
They doing cemeteries?
I haven't gone by to confirm that.
I'm not sure.
I presume so, but I don't know. I haven't
I
looked.
haven't seen.
Barry's looked a little ragged the other day.
But they have a list of cemeteries they're supposed to oversee.
Yeah, we presume they do.
Someone better check.
You just might need to follow up, because Barry, no, was not.
Well, we should follow up too, because if they happen to be one that wants to do the plowing contract too, we want to make sure that the first contract's working out.
Yes.
Take it upon myself to get in touch with them, if that works for you all.
Sure.
All right.
May I ask something?
Sure.
Who's in charge of mowing the little triangle where you come up?
That's the state.
That's the state.
Okay. It was getting high enough that nobody could see over.
And they started with weed whackers. I'm like, I hope they do more. And they did.
Yeah.
They took they took the hill out and then went in with the mower.
Yeah.
Usually they wait until you can build a house in there when
Forget it, because
How does
hay it and keep the leaf barn going.
Yes. Okay, any further questions from all you? Our public.
Do you have the language for
No,
that?
I was gonna suggest, though, you gotta have Steve involved in making the decision for all of the equipment and things, because he obviously knows what the heck is going on.
Yeah, shut up.
Pardon me, we do not talk like that to each other.
He's gonna
He's
sit in the
talking
back
himself.
row that way, yes.
Fine, hey, that's different.
You can say it in English.
All right, civil language people.
Oh, please.
Do you have the language to go into executive
My-
session?
My teacher voice. Okay,
Is that the language?
Yep.
Is that- Okay, I was looking at it, yep.
So I make a motion that we enter executive session pursuant to Title I MRSA, Chapter 405, Section 6A, for the purpose of employment of an assessing agent, the employment of a town clerk, and the retention of legal counsel to represent the town of West Bath.
That means we
At
don't.
6:16.
Very good.
second, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Have fun.
Thank
Good
you
day
all.
all, thank you.
It's been real fun.